Phil Mickelson snipes PGA Tour for magically finding money for schedule changes. Phil Mickelson may no longer be competing on the PGA Tour, but he's sure not done competing with the PGA Tour. Shortly after the completion of the second round of play in Boston at the latest LIV Golf Invitational Series event, the 52-year-old stepped before reporters and delivered the latest blow against his former employer, likening himself and LIV as martyrs for professional golf in the wake of changes to the PGA Tour. "I think the fans are getting a lot of benefit out of this, and all professional golfers are getting a lot of benefits. The guys on the tour are playing for a lot more money. It's great that they magically found a couple $100 million, that's awesome," he said. "I think the fans are getting a lot of benefit out of this, and all professional golfers are getting a lot of benefits. The guys on the tour are playing for a lot more money. It's great that they magically found a couple $100 million, that's awesome." Mickelson's comments came after a week headlined by changes to the PGA Tour structure driven by LIV's growth. After months of losses to their new rivals, the Tour announced a new series of elevated events with the goal of convening the top players in the sport more regularly and compensating them at a higher level, among broader expansions aimed at paying top players. The changes, of course, will be funded primarily by exploding PGA Tour revenues thanks to the league's new media rights deals and secondarily by the Tour reserves. The reserves, which take a small chunk of the Tour's annual revenues and are eventually returned in full to players, are footing only a small portion of the bill, according to the Tour. The reserves typically act like a savings account to keep the Tour solvent in the event of a crisis, like, for example, the COVID-19 pandemic, though the commissioner retains the authority to release the money at his own discretion. Still, in many ways these changes represent the Tour's best effort at addressing the problems first highlighted by Mickelson in his now infamous diatribe at the Saudi International in January. At the time, Mickelson endorsed LIV's rumored formation by slamming the Tour structure and hierarchy for what he viewed as unfairly taking money and resources from players, an offense he called greed beyond obnoxious. With the developments of the last several weeks, top Tour players will now find themselves compensated at their highest ever levels, and will face fewer challenges around travel, missed cuts and schedule building. These changes, Mickelson said, were only possible because of the leverage created by LIV and the departure of dozens of top touring pros. "Now, players are being heard and things are changing," Phil said. "Now, players are being heard and things are changing,"